So be honest with me for a second. When you hear the word protein, do you immediately just picture giant bodybuilders, chalky gym shakes, and heavy weights? Yeah, it's a super common association. But I've got to challenge you right out of the gate here. Are you actually getting enough protein? And I don't mean just to recover from today's workout. I'm talking about for your long-term health, your physical independence as you get older, and literally the foundational survival of your body on a daily basis. If you think protein is just some passing fitness trend, well, you're missing out on one of the absolute most critical pieces of your own biology. Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here with us. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey to completely demystify protein based on the source material. We're going to uncover exactly how it serves as the ultimate biological defense mechanism at every single stage of your life. Whether you're 25 or 75, the information we're about to unpack is absolutely going to change the way you look at your plate. Okay, here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The power of protein. 2. Beyond just building muscle. 3. Fighting muscle loss with age. 4. Busting common protein myths. 5. Finding your daily target. And finally 6. Best sources and supplements. Let's dive right in. Section 1. The power of protein. Before we can even talk about how much you should be eating, we've got to understand what protein actually is, right? Proteins are literally the absolute workhorses of our bodies. They aren't just passive fuel, they are the active, structural building blocks of life itself. Basically, they're these large, complex molecules made up of smaller units called amino acids. You can think of amino acids kind of like individual Lego bricks. They snap together in incredibly specific sequences to form these long chains called polypeptides. And it's that unique sequence of amino acids that tells the protein exactly what its job is going to be in your body.
Moving on to section 2, beyond just building muscle.
So, knowing that these Lego bricks are constantly building our bodies, what are they actually doing on a microscopic level every single second? Well, spoiler alert, it goes way, way beyond just repairing gym injuries. Proteins act as enzymes, which are essentially the little spark plugs that trigger the chemical reactions you need for metabolism and digestion. They also handle transport and signaling, zipping ions and nutrients in and out of your cells. They provide crucial structural support. Proteins like actin and myosin literally contract to make your muscles move. Keratin strengthens your hair and nails. And fun fact from the sources, it's actually the exact same protein that makes up a rhino's horn. Pretty wild, right? And remarkably, some proteins even act as hormones. Insulin, for example, is a protein that works as a chemical messenger to keep your blood sugar regulated. And all of this really illustrates how those tiny, microscopic cellular functions translate into massive, real-world health benefits every day. By keeping things like insulin in check, protein helps regulate your blood sugar levels, keeping you from having those awful sharp spikes and crashes. It keeps your immune system strong too, because antibodies, the things actually neutralizing bacteria and viruses, are proteins. It maintains your bone health by giving you a solid collagen framework. And when it comes to weight management, protein has this incredibly powerful satiating effect. It keeps you feeling full, which prevents overeating, while also boosting something called thermogenesis. That basically just means your body burns more calories simply doing the work to digest it. Section 3. Fighting muscle loss with age. Let's fast forward in time a bit and look at how protein becomes our primary defense mechanism as we get older. We have to talk about sarcopenia. This is an age-related condition where your muscle mass, your overall strength, and your physical performance dangerously decline over time. And here's the kind of terrifying reality of it. Aging actually causes a drop in the anabolic signal sent to your muscles. Basically, older bodies develop something called anabolic resistance, which just means they don't process protein nearly as efficiently as younger bodies do. If you leave this unchecked, it leads directly to frailty, disability, and a heartbreaking loss of independence. So what's the solution? How do older populations fight back against this anabolic resistance? Well, the clinical research recommends an optimal daily dietary protein intake of 1.0 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight to prevent sarcopenia. Think of that specific number as your biological shield against aging muscle loss. The really crucial point here, though, is translating all that daily math into a practical target for your actual meals. The clinical recommendation is aiming for 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein per meal, and you want that distributed evenly throughout the day. Why is this rule so strict? Because clinical trials clearly show that diets dropping to 0.8 grams per kilogram or lower in older populations lead directly to a loss of lean mass. Even if you're trying to lose weight, if you aren't eating adequate protein, it guarantees you're losing precious muscle, not just fat. All right, Section 4. Busting common protein myths.
Now that we've laid out the clinical stakes, let's rapidly tackle some of those cultural misconceptions that might be holding you back. First up, the classic myth that high-protein diets will somehow damage your kidneys. The sources are absolutely crystal clear on this one. This claim is just not supported by scientific evidence. Healthy individuals with normal kidney function can safely consume high-protein diets without any adverse effects whatsoever. Now, obviously, if you have pre-existing kidney disease, you should always consult your doctor. But for the general healthy public, total myth.
Next myth on the chopping block, the idea that eating a literal mountain of protein will magically result in infinite muscle growth. Sadly, downing 3 massive steaks in one sitting won't just instantly give you bulging biceps. The human body actually has a hard biological limit on how much protein it can effectively utilize for muscle synthesis at any given time. So consuming amounts way, way beyond what your body actually needs just does not equal more muscle, period. And finally, we've got the myth that eating protein inherently causes weight gain. We are shattering this one right here, right now. As we touched on earlier, protein actually has a higher thermic effect of food, or TEF. This means your body literally has to expend more energy, it burns more calories just to digest and process protein compared to carbs or fats. Plus, it keeps you feeling full longer, which makes it an incredibly beneficial part of literally any weight management plan. Which brings us to Section 5, Finding Your Daily Target. With those myths finally out of the way, let's figure out your specific needs based on the data. Let's find your daily target. So if you're sedentary, meaning you're doing minimal daily activity, your baseline is right around 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. But take a look at how this scales up. If you're moderately active, you really should be aiming for 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram. And if you're a serious athlete or strength trainer, you're going to need 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram. Let's do some quick math to put that in perspective. A 70 kilogram, which is about a 154-pound strength trainer, would need roughly 112 to 154 grams of protein every single day just to support their muscle repair and growth.
And our final stop, Section 6, Best Sources and Supplements.
Okay, we've got our numbers, so how do we actually hit these targets when we're standing in the kitchen? Well, whether you're looking at the beef and eggs on the left or the chickpeas on the right, you have some truly excellent options. Animal-based proteins are great because they provide all the essential amino acids in highly bioavailable formats. But plant-based sources, as long as they're eaten in a varied and balanced diet, can absolutely provide a complete amino acid profile to support your health too.
Let's actually break down the specific numbers here. Gram for gram per 100 grams of weight, animal sources definitely pack a dense punch. Chicken sits right at 31 grams, salmon at 25, and eggs at 13. But hey, look over at the plant side. Chickpeas offer a super robust 19 grams per 100 grams, while lentils and tofu bring in 9 and 8 grams respectively. The whole idea that plant proteins are somehow inferior is honestly just another myth. You really just need to make sure you're mixing and matching your legumes, grains, and seeds to get everything you need.
And of course, supplements can be a fantastic, super convenient tool to help you hit those higher targets. You've got whey, which is fast absorbing and perfect for post-workout, and casein, which gives you a nice, slow release of amino acids. If you're looking for plant options, soy gives you a complete profile, while pea, rice, and hemp are awesome hypoallergenic alternatives. I also want to share a really helpful pro tip from the explainer sources. Clinical studies on aging highlight that supplementing with leucine, which is a specific amino acid, along with HMB and vitamin D, are incredibly powerful allies for combating muscle loss as we get older. So, how do we simplify all this heavy science into something you can use for your very next meal? Well, here is one beautifully easy visual rule. Whenever you look at your plate, just aim to have 1 to 2 palm-sized portions of protein right there. And remember those clinical guidelines we talked about earlier? You really want to distribute your protein evenly throughout the whole day. Please don't eat 0 protein for breakfast and lunch and then try to choke down a massive 100-gram steak at dinner. Your body literally can't utilize it all at once. Just spread it out, palm by palm. We've covered the cellular magic, the aging defense, the math, and the plate. So I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative question. How are you going to upgrade your next meal? Because you now know that protein isn't just about fitness. It is the literal structural foundation of your longevity, your metabolic health, and your independence. Don't waste your next meal. Build a better body, one amino acid at a time. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.